Believe it or not, I didn't really put those up with video making in mind. Anyway, I'm not sure I should make this video. I'm gonna insult some people, but in a way, I'm not trying to. I'm not. I know that not all people are like this. Not all of any group of people are like any certain thing because everyone's individual. But dark-haired women. I've always had a thing for dark-haired women. Long dark hair. And obviously with body hair it means sometimes it means it'll be thicker, so that's attractive to me too. Um, but it most likely stems from the fact that my mom has dark hair, and I just grew up with dark-haired women around myself all the time. So I don't have any feelings like that towards my mom. I guess I got that genetic structure in my brain that repels me from my own family successfully. um, but yes, I've always had the biggest crush on dark-haired girls. For a while it was short, chubby, dark-haired girls, but now it's just, in general, chubby, dark-haired girls. But any of the experiences I've actually personally had with dark-haired girls has been sort of negative. I apologize to anyone that I may offend if you are watching these videos, one of my dark-haired ex-girlfriends or something. I'll just use initials, I guess. M was the first dark-haired girl I was with. My very first girlfriend in grade 6 was blonde. That's about it. We hung out and played games and kissed each other's cheeks and stuff. 12 years old. What does a 12-year-old know about anything? But then in grade 10, I met M, and we were well together. We didn't hold hands. I didn't want to hold her hand because I was afraid that she would be annoyed by having to take her hand off her purse. That's the thoughts that went in my mind. I didn't want to intrude on her. I didn't by trying to hold her hand. So we just walked around. Always had my arm around her. It was kind of awkward, but it worked for us for a bit. But then she was religious, and I was not religious, and that became an issue because religious people will tend to make that an issue. I To be fair, though, I was pretty vocal about it. Like, I would write notes to her because she was a girlfriend, a friend, a person I could express my feelings and thoughts to. And these are feelings and thoughts I thought everybody shared. Religion is just ridiculous, and it's kind of obvious. But apparently not obvious to everybody because a lot of people are raised before they have the reasoning skills to know that religion is bullshit. They're taught as young children that it's true, which is very disingenuous, very dishonest, but that's not the topic of this video. She was very religious and I was not. I was a little bit vocal about it, and I was talking about, how God is dumb and that's all that type of stuff. I think her parents told her to break up with me, but I was originally told that it was because she liked another guy, and that made me pissed off and angry, and I was so upset. I wrote angry letters to her and all her friends and all that stuff, and we had a huge big fight and stuff. It all worked itself out. We're all friends now. It was just my own immaturity. I don't know what love is. I was fed what Hollywood tells you love is, and Hollywood's lying to you about what love is. Um, but I treated it like that. I didn't look at a single other girl. I did not think about another girl. She was my entire world. I was always writing notes to her, and she was writing notes to me. We liked each other about equally in that respect, but I was to a non-religious form. That's not necessarily a bad experience, but it kind of is. Maybe all the dark-haired girls are short relationships. The next girlfriend I had after her, this girl was 1 month, M. Kay is the next girl I met. She was the first one who let me touch her boobs. She actually moved my hand to it and made me rub her down there in the theater at one point too. My first booby touching experience was while watching the movie Seven, by the way. And my first, I don't know, first, second, third base, whatever you call it. It wasn't under any clothing. Crotch rub, base. That sounds like home, but that's not quite. Was at Naked Gun 33 and a third. Very romantic movies there. But but yeah, she was a dark-haired girl, and she dumped me in 2 weeks for absolutely no reason because she was just one of those girls. You know those girls that just tend to date someone for 2 weeks and then they just screw off. I want someone else now. I don't want to say that that's bad, but I don't want to say that that's good because that obviously hurt me a lot because I didn't understand. I don't understand. How are we supposed to understand when a girl just all of a sudden dumps you after 2 weeks and is all hanging off the arm of someone else right away? It's just not very fair. If you're not, you know, if you don't know that that's what's going to happen or that that happens. But yeah, that was a bad experience for me, even though she was my first, also my first French kiss. I didn't even kiss that M at all. We didn't kiss. I may have kissed her on the cheek once, I think, and I kissed R, the first girlfriend in grade 6, on the lips once, but it was just a quick peck because we were like, "Hey, you want to try it?" Again, grade 6, little kids. Then let's see. After that, I had a longer relationship with the girl that I'm with right now, Jen. In high school, she was my first, went all the way, and we were a very good team, and eventually I fell out of love with her. Some certain annoyances, things we both recognized were faulty about our own characters. I couldn't handle her, and she was really in love with me, but she was the first one that I ever dumped. I was always the dumped one. But yeah, that we're not talking about her because she's not a dark-haired girl. She was blonde. Well, then maybe that's part of it. Counterpoint is she was blonde. Before her, I was with another girl. We'll say S, but only for about 2 days because I didn't really like her. I was sort of pressured into going out with her because she liked me. But yeah, this is all grade 10 or after grade 10. I had like from grade 6 to grade 10 or nothing. Nobody noticed me. I was invisible, nerd dork being made fun of and all that. But and then grade 10, that girl M liked me, and then K liked me. Then grade 11, I was with Jen, and the next dark-haired girl I was with, I think, was another S. She was another one of those 2-week girls. She dated me for 2 weeks and then moved on to another guy. Maybe it's because I didn't know how to put out. I was just learning relationships. In my mind, I want a relationship so that I can have a connection with the heart. I didn't even really think much about fooling around. And I was a teenager. I did want to fuck, but it wasn't on my mind in the relationship at the time. Like in my first relationships, my focus was on loving the girl, being with the girl, hanging out, and just having the feeling of it. And let's see, after her was B. She turned out to be a lesbian, and at that point, I understood what homosexuality meant. So I did not even feel insulted in any way because that's not an insult. I just felt hurt because I really liked her, and she was really, really unique and really interesting, and she loved the Doors, and we watched Titanic in the movie theater together, and that was the first movie I cried in since Terminator 2 when he went, but yeah, she was really special to me. I really liked her a lot. She was a really interesting, good person. She was a bit into tarot and readings. She was telling me about my aura and all that stuff, and I was open to that stuff. I could still be open to that stuff, but nothing has been proven about it yet, so I won't give it any credit. But she was interesting in that way. But she turned out to be a lesbian, and I respected that, and I was sad because I was gonna lose that relationship, but I did not lose any respect for her as a character, as a person. We stopped being friends just because it was awkward, And then she came back to town and we hung out and it was really neat. She turned into this big band fan and she was wearing this one of those big sort of big band-ish type hats, those over exaggerated big, but not like not quite pimp big, but you know what I mean. Uh, with a big shouldery style. She was wearing a suit and all that stuff. The next dark-haired girl I was with um, was another K, I think, if that's the next one. Yeah, K, because after that was A, and I was with her for a long time. A was with me through my leukemia, and her and I were friends again. We haven't spoken in about half a year or so, but we were good friends when I came back from St. John's. But anyway, the other K, she was a short, chubby, dark-haired girl. These are all chubby girls. The first ones were by chance. Later ones were by choice. But yeah, she was also a very interesting person, a sort of a freak, and different in the mind. And she went deaf randomly when she was 16, and had a cochlear implant installed, or implant installed. I don't know what the word would be, into her brain, so that she, with a little microphone around her ear that would deliver specific, sound messages to her brain directly from a microphone that looped around her ear. That's what a cochlear implant is. It would attach by a magnetic battery pack type thing on the top of her head, like behind her ear. It was kind of neat. But she, from becoming someone that we had a very, very uh, whirlwind sort of relationship. We were in there and we were like at each other like every day, like in a physical way, not a violent, but a very sexual. We were at each other in a very physical way almost all the time. The whole 2 weeks I think she spent coming out to my place or something. We spent almost every day. We went out to the lake and even did it out there at night. It was my first time doing that kind of thing. That was really fun. But then all of a sudden we decided to move in together because she wanted to live closer in town. She was working at the call center and it would be too much gas to drive from where she was living, which was sort of out of town in the opposite direction. But as soon as we moved in together, she changed. She became obsessive and she became angry and very weird, and slammed the door in my face for letting her cat out of her room. I came home before she did. The cat was scratching at her bedroom door, and I was like, I let the cat out and brought it on my lap, and I just sat and watched TV, and the cat was on my lap the whole time, and I was watching it, and she came home and was absolutely pissed. Another discussion was that we argued about more than we should have was she has the big TV, so I thought we should probably have the big TV out in the living room. Nobody wants to watch my little Commodore monitor. I had a Commodore 64 monitor that we had, and it was usable as a TV because it just had regular yellow and red plugins. And it was really clear for a long time, but it was small. It was just small. No, and she argued about that. She's like, "No, this TV's going in my room." We had a 2 bedroom because we just figured we had enough stuff to have to keep separate, and I had my own bed. Didn't know where to put all that type of thing. So she was taking her TV into her room. But I was like, "But it's the big TV. That people might, enjoy it better if if we had company because we had friends we wanted to invite over and stuff." No, she wouldn't budge on that, and she was absolutely angry about that I even brought that up. And that type of thing. Like, she was kind of crazy. Then I was with Carolyn. She was the big relationship I was with in St. John's. Everyone who knows me through my artwork knows of her through my DeviantArt gallery. I talked about her a lot, and I drew her a few times. She was a brown-haired girl, so she was right in the middle, and she was one of the best, experiences I had because she was just a genuinely good person. But there were troubles, and insurmountable troubles. and I don't want to sully her name by bringing them up, or my name by bringing. Well, I can sully my name, but there were trust issues. I broke some trust, and she became overprotective, and that was just the dynamic that happened because I was dishonest. But yes, so when that ended, the next dark-haired girl. Let's see. Oh, the next one was Sarah, but she was not really dark-haired, but she was also brown, but she was just, yeah. I won't say anything because I don't want to insult anybody for stupid reasons. Um, next one was R, I think, and she would text and call other guys that she was seeing while I was at her house while we were supposed to be hanging out watching movies. So yeah, that unfortunately, I don't want to go into detail, but I'm not giving actual real names here for this one anyway. R. She is going through some cancer, and I feel really bad for that. And I promised her that I would make a drawing of her for her daughter because her daughter, she might leave a daughter behind. But I just haven't been able to get to it because she treated me that way. If you know what I mean, I just can't get my heart in it anymore. She's an absolutely beautiful person. Like, well, not, I can't say person. She's absolutely beautiful physically. But she's very selfish, very, yeah. Again, I don't want to insult people unnecessarily, but she's not a good person. And now, the type of face that she has, if I see it in someone else, I get annoyed by it. That's where I think beauty comes from. That's the whole my idea of the concept of beauty. I don't know if I've overrun my video time now. The next dark-haired one, well, I think that was the last. That was it. But that seems to be sort of the theme. I have the biggest crush on them, but they're the ones that end up treating me the worst. So I'm guessing my physical crush on them has mostly to do with my mom having dark hair, or possibly the fact that I'm blonde. Maybe my genetics is more attracted to the diversity of someone who has dark hair, and but I'm with Jen now. She has hair pretty much the exact same color as mine, maybe a lighter blonde, and we are a team, and I hope that I can keep it up because she's putting so much effort into it, and I have tendency to not put effort into things because I don't think they need effort. If a relationship is good, it probably shouldn't need effort to keep going. But there is maintenance in humanity. There is maintenance in everything. If you don't maintain the good feelings that you give, you won't get any back.